Hey there, and welcome to the Screen Facts with Jason Davis podcast. This is episode 15, and joining me in the studio once again is my legendary wife, Sue.
Why, thank you. Nice to be back.
It's good to have you back.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure to do this with you. It's so much fun. You know, we've been doing a lot of movies from the 80s.
Yes, we have.
Guess what? We're doing another movie from the 80s.
Well, why not? It's a great movie.
I'm going to say that this movie is in my top 5 funniest movies of all time,
Yes,
easily.
I would say that for myself, too.
Well, we are talking about a movie released July 2nd, 1980. Still makes us laugh 35 years later.
That's right.
We're talking about
Airplane.
Airplane, the classic, directed and written for the screen by Jim Abrahams, David and Jerry Zucker. Now, although uncredited, there were some additional writers involved in this movie. Arthur Haley, John C. Champion, and Hall Bartlett. They all contributed to the screenplay for a movie called Zero Hour, which is from 1957. Zero Hour is the original movie that most of Airplane is based on. In fact, there are scenes that are shot-for-shot remakes, including the dialogue in Airplane. And you and I always thought that Airplane was more of a spoof on the airport movies.
That's
from
what
the
I
70s.
always thought.
Me
I
too.
had no idea.
There are some elements of Airplane that are taken from Airport 75, I believe.
Right, The Singing Nun, I believe.
The Singing Nun is one of them,
Right.
definitely. But yeah, the movie is mostly based on Zero Hour. And you actually found something really cool on YouTube. Talk about that.
I did. I don't know how I got there. How does anybody get to all the videos on YouTube?
Right.
You go down that rabbit hole. But it's an actual compilation of clips from Airplane and Zero Hour. And it's hysterical to see. They show, a clip from Zero Hour and then they show it from Airplane, word for word, blocking for blocking. Amazing. It's a recreation. Except, of course, with Airplane, they add a little something at the end, or they
Right.
do something a little different right at the end to give it that funny pop,
Right. For example, the scenes with Peter Graves and the little boy in the cockpit.
Right.
There's a scene in Zero Hour of the boy in the cockpit, the captain giving him the model airplane. Have you ever been in a cockpit before? Oh, no, I've never been in an airplane before. So that happens in Airplane, too.
Right. And then in Zero Hour, the co-pilot says, well, how do you like it?
Right.
But in Airplane,
In Airplane, of course, Peter Graves says, do you like gladiator movies?
have you ever seen a grown man naked?
You ever been in a Turkish prison?
Zucker, Abrahams, and Zucker actually found Zero Hour by fate to get inspiration for the skits for their group that they had, Kentucky Fried Theater.
Okay.
They would record late-night TV with the plan of spoofing the commercials.
Ah, okay.
Well, one night they recorded Zero Hour, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, you got to love serendipity like that.
You gotta love it. How often are you gonna find a movie where one of the actual lines is, the only way these people are going to survive is if we can find someone who can fly this plane who hasn't had fish for dinner.
Right, and they said that word for word in Airplane, and it comes off for whatever reason as funny in Airplane.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to be funny in Zero Hour. It's real serious.
I know. I guess
great.
since they set it up with, well, the choices were fish or steak.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I had the lasagna.
Exactly. So the movie stars Robert Hayes, Julie Haggerty, Leslie Nielsen, Peter Graves, Lloyd Bridges, Robert Stack, and of course Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Of course.
So the interesting thing is that the directors chose Robert Stack, Lloyd Bridges, Peter Graves, and Leslie Nielsen because of their reputation for playing no-nonsense characters. Until this film, they hadn't done comedy. It's actually beneficial because they're so straight arrow, their personas, that the line delivery makes it even funnier.
Yeah. Some of the deadpan delivery
Oh, my
and
God.
the real straight, I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
And then it goes to, I guess I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
And then the final one, looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. And he's hanging upside down and he's... Oh, man. And, and that wouldn't work as much. It wouldn't be as funny if it was a comedian.
Exactly.
Lloyd Bridges was initially reluctant to take his role, but his sons persuaded him to do it. I guess they saw that it was going to be a classic.
Yeah. And Nielsen later said he was delighted to get the offer because he was fearing that he was getting too old for anything but elderly grandfather parts.
Imagine Leslie Nielsen as your grandfather.
Oh, my gosh. Well, the studio actually wanted to cast Dom DeLuise as the doctor, but Abrahams and the Zucker brothers got their way and casted Nielsen.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I can't imagine the movie without Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, my gosh.
He makes that part. He's great.
Yep.
So the movie was filmed in 34 days from July to August of 1979. It had a very small budget. The estimated budget of $3.5 million, it grossed $83.5 million in the U.S. to become the highest grossing comedy of its time.
Amazing.
And I read somewhere that I think the opening weekend gross actually paid for all of the production expenses.
Oh, hey, and the
So-
rest was gravy. I, of course, was not allowed to see it in the movie theater when it came out.
Yeah, you were really sheltered, you poor thing.
I know.
By 1981, I was already seeing R-rated movies in the theaters.
Woo-wee.
I had the coolest mom ever. When I was talking to Blazer, he was talking about how his mom took him to see Night Shift when he was really young, and he thought that she was the coolest. Sorry, dude. My mom was the best.
Yeah,
doubt.
it sounds like it. I mean, my mom took me to see Escape to Witch Mountain. That was that was about our level of risque.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that too. You know, it was like, oh, they had like telekinetic powers and stuff.
Yeah, but I was 17. No, I'm just kidding.
That's great. So this movie, right off the bat, just starts off with funniness.
Yeah, the Jaws spoof was put into the beginning to let the audience in on the joke right off the bat. They used a model plane and layers of cotton.
It's very effective. It's great.
Dun-dun.
And by the way,
Dun-dun.
that was something I talked about with Warren during the Jaws podcast a few episodes ago. So check that one out too. So the argument that happens between the announcers concerning the white and red zones at the airport,
Right in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what you're in for when you hear this stuff going on.
the producers actually hired the same voice artists who had made the real world announcements at Los Angeles Airport. They were also married to each other in real life, which is kind of interesting too. And the dialogue about her getting an abortion was taken from a quote unquote cheap dime store novel. And by the way, if you're wondering, at the real airport, the white zone is for loading and unloading of passengers only, and there's no stopping in the red zone, except for transit buses.
Are you sure?
Don't give me any of that white zone crap.
For the famous scene of the 747 crashing through the large windows inside the terminal, producer John Davison said that after the movie, he received numerous letters from various pilots telling him they had come very close to recreating that scene.
That's scary.
Some pilots admitted they had come so close as to touch the glass with the noses of their airplanes.
Yikes. Can you imagine if you're sitting in the terminal and you're seeing that happening? Holy mackerel.
Run!
So there's a funny thing that we never noticed. All the times we've seen this movie,
Which is 1.5 million,
exactly,
probably.
we never noticed until we were watching the DVD that I have of this. Has a special feature where it does like a trivia track, where it's kind of like, you remember the old VH1
Pop-up videos.
yeah, pop-up video show? Well, it's kind of like that. And they pointed it out in this scene with the airplane crashing through the windows.
The Zucker brothers are the two guys waving the flashlights in the scene. I think they said
That I
that
had
was an old
noticed.
bit
That I had
that
noticed.
they had done in their comedy stuff.
Exactly.
You know, well, he's doing the regular directions, and then he asks him where something is, and he waves the other way,
Right.
and then the
Which
airplane
is a
goes
classic,
off.
a classic bit. But the thing that we had
Classic.
never noticed that they pointed out, and we were like, oh my God.
Oh my God, look, oh my God, there's a woman throwing her baby in the air. All wrapped up in a blanket.
You know what it is? The scene is so funny as it is.
And it's so fast.
Yeah, and I mean, just the idea of the plane crashing through, like, that's just funny. You don't even think that, and you see the woman throw the baby up. It's
Oh my
just, it's
gosh,
great.
yep.
And by the way, the plane was a 3/4 model on the back of a pickup truck. So it was actually pretty much a full-size deal.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. So another funny thing that came up when we were watching with the trivia track, when Captain Over walks into the terminal and the voice on the loudspeaker or whatever says, Captain Over, white courtesy phone. First he picks up the red courtesy phone.
Right.
And the script supervisor, you can actually hear an audible chuckle when he picks up the wrong phone that they left on the track for the movie.
Yeah, and she's a script supervisor. You think she'd know it's coming.
Right.
But it's so funny because he picks up the wrong one and you hear a,
And then the voice on the loudspeaker does the announcement again. Captain Over, white courtesy phone. He goes, I got it.
oh, right.
Thank you.
And the filmmakers use some family members in the filming of this. Their sister and their cousin are at the ticket booth in the beginning. Now, the sister's over at the next terminal, and she has a non-speaking part.
Right.
And the cousin is the one who is speaking when Stryker says, I'll take a one-way ticket to Chicago.
Right. Smoking or non-smoking.
Smoking or non-smoking, and he says smoking, and she hands him a ticket that is
That's smoking, literally.
Yep. And then the Zucker brothers' mother, Charlotte, was the woman who smears makeup all over her face. Everyone was calling her the makeup lady.
Yeah, and she's actually done cameos in most of their movies,
Yeah.
the Naked Gun movies too, and stuff. She's great.
Yeah. And most of the character names actually are friends of the filmmakers, family members, neighbors of the directors, old high school friends, old college roommates.
If you were somebody that knew Jim Abrahams or the Zucker brothers growing up, or if you lived near them, whatever,
There's a chance they said your name. in
yeah,
the movie.
you could have been watching Airplane in the theater going, "That's me!" That's great. One of the funny sight gags early on, too, is when Captain Over's talking to the Mayo Clinic, and of course there's like a wall of mayonnaise behind him. But
Yep.
there's the heart on his desk jumping around, which if you look carefully, of course, you can see the wires.
Of course, yeah.
But the heart is for the girl Lisa Davis. No relation. Anyway, so Lisa Davis is played by Jill Whelan. Lisa's mom is played by Joyce Bulifant. So here's the cool thing. Joyce played Murray's wife on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Jill played Vicky, Captain Stubing's daughter, on The Love Boat. Murray and Captain Stubing were both played by Gavin MacLeod. So both of those actresses worked in a pretty close capacity to Gavin MacLeod.
Interesting.
And another cool thing about the scenes involving Lisa Davis,
No relation.
no relation.
Was that River of Jordan song that Randy sings to her? Peter Yarrow from Peter, Paul, and Mary wrote that. He wrote it for a friend's wedding and gave permission that they could use it in the movie. But then when he saw how they used it, he was a little upset.
I think it's kind of funny that was like probably meant to be this really hopeful, romantic, wonderful song for this couple's
Very
wedding.
heartfelt.
And it's just being sung to the girl, and then she knocks the IV out, and the puckered face, cross-eyed. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
It's
And
great.
twice. She does it twice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Another funny thing is it shows the nun, and I forget who plays her. It was
That's Maureen McGovern.
Maureen McGovern, right? And she was going to sing.
She
but then-
does actually sing at one
did she
point.
sing later?
She sings to the two jive guys.
Right. Because I think, weren't they afraid that was a little too close to the Helen Reddy
Yes.
part in Airport?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But she ends up singing like a little bit of respect.
Oh, right.
The Aretha Frank-
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a real...
Yeah,
White
and,
girl like
and that
me.
makes them sicker to their stomach.
Yeah, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Well, I like when she's reading the magazine Boy's Life,
Mm-hmm.
and then they show the boy in the next shot, and he's reading Nun's Life.
Right.
And the Nun's Life has a nun surfing
Right.
on the cover. Well, that actually wasn't a real nun.
What?
I know. Shocker.
Get out of here.
Shocker. The filmmakers actually went to the beach and found a surfer who was willing to dress up as a nun so they could take a picture.
I wish I could have seen that happen.
Could you imagine that setup? Show up at the beach with a habit and the wimple or whatever it's called.
But surfers are so laid back. Like, sure, I'll wear a nun's habit. I don't care.
Dude, tubular.
I'm actually surprised because it's my understanding that nuns like to hang 10.
Really? No sense.
Speaking of hanging, by the way, one of the jokes that's kind of repeated in the movie is when Robert Hayes is telling, Ted Stryker is telling the history of his relationship with Elaine Dickinson, Julie Haggerty's character. Every person he talks to eventually tries to kill themselves
They just can't take it.
because they're bored to death. So the first quote-unquote victim is the woman,
That
the old woman.
older lady.
You just see her legs hanging into the frame.
Yeah,
like
you
she
just see
hung
the bottom
herself.
of her legs and her shoes. Yeah.
Like she hung herself.
Yep, and that's actually her.
Yeah,
They actually put her in a harness and hooked her up, so it's not like they put a dummy up there.
which is great.
That airplane must have great headroom if there was room for her to do that.
Those are one of those things that you're supposed to forget, I guess.
Oh, okay.
There's obviously certain things that you just can't not talk about.
Right.
And of course, one of the big scenes is the scene that takes place in the bar when Ted's telling
Right.
the story of how he met Elaine. The big thing about that is that Staying Alive by the Bee Gees is playing. And, I'm sure most of us have noticed that the song is sped up in that. I never could figure out why it was sped up. My guess is that they sped it up because it timed to the scene better when it was played faster.
I guess.
But
So
obviously,
weird, yeah.
it's a little weird. But obviously, they had to get permission from the Bee Gees to use the song.
Right.
They also had to get permission to speed it up, too.
That's right. And Robert Hayes and Julie Haggerty rehearsed their dance routine for a month before filming.
The whole thing with the suit is great. too.
Yeah. When he takes off the jacket and he's got the complete disco outfit underneath it.
exactly.
And then he has his arm out in the disco pose and they throw the jacket back at him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's great.
There's also a spoof of this, Staying Alive.
Yes.
Right?
There's in the movie Ted, again, which I talked about with Les Sinclair a few episodes
That
ago.
was a great podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shameless plug.
Why not?
Anyway, yeah, they actually spoof the spoof.
Yeah.
Which is great. So Wow, that's like a third time removed Saturday Night Fever in Ted. Yeah, when they
Triple
show,
spoof?
I guess, yeah, when they show Mark Wahlberg
Right.
and Mila Kunis recreating the scene from Airplane.
Right.
That that recreates
Yeah,
Saturday Night
that's great.
Fever. So the funny thing too is that there's a fight that breaks out in the bar.
The Girl
And
Scouts.
the two Girl Scouts,
gosh.
beating the crap out of each other.
Oh my gosh.
And if you look closely, you can see the safety pads on the backs of the girls. And also, part of the dance sequence, Julie Haggerty starts out
That's
dancing
right.
with the
With this other guy.
With the guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And then some guy just like stabs him in the back.
Right. And then he's making those twitching
he's trying
movements.
to point to the knife, and she thinks
And
it's
she
dance
thinks
moves.
she's copying him. Yeah.
But anyway, you can see the pad on that guy as well, which is pretty funny.
That's funny, yeah. You can also see the wires when Stryker is dancing and juggling.
Yes.
You can see them holding him up because he's doing like that Russian Cossack kind of
Yeah.
dance. And then all of a sudden he's juggling too. And the juggling made it into the scene because Robert Hayes just happened to mention that he knew how to juggle while they were filming.
Yeah. And so they said, hey, why not?
Hey,
and that'll just
work
make
it
the scene
in.
funnier, right? So there's another funny thing about this scene, too. It's the beginning of kind of a series of contradictions that happens throughout the movie.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but Stryker's wearing a Navy uniform
Right.
when he's at the bar. But later on, they do a flashback and he's in an Army hospital.
Right. And even
So-
later than that, he tells Dr. Rumack, Leslie Nielsen's character, that he flew a single-engine plane in the Air Force in the war.
So where did he serve? Where?
He's got it all covered. The only one he didn't mention was the Marines
Oh my gosh.
and the Coast Guard, I guess.
Yeah.
Another part of the story of Ted and Elaine and how they met and how
Mm-hmm.
they fell in love is there's a scene where they're running on the beach. That beach is the same beach that was in Planet of the Apes when Charlton Heston finds the Statue of Liberty. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Did you know that Kareem's part was actually written for Pete Rose?
I do now.
I bet you didn't.
I didn't until now.
Well, Pete wasn't available because the film was shot during baseball season, so
okay.
they rewrote it for Kareem.
Yeah. And that whole idea of a sports star playing the co-pilot is a direct lift from Zero Hour.
Right.
Because the co-pilot was played by Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch.
And what
who
did
was
he
he was a football
Football,
player.
right.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar actually had cameos in other movies too, but I think he's always played himself pretty
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
except for in this movie. No, son, I'm Roger Murdoch.
You're
I'm
Kareem
the-
Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, I love that whole sequence too.
Yeah. And later on, when they pull him out,
Yeah.
he's actually wearing his safety goggles and his shorts and his
And his
knee
knee pads.
socks,
His knee pads.
pads.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my gosh.
A couple of other people were also considered for parts in this movie, too. David Letterman, believe it or not, had auditioned for the part of Ted Stryker. The scene that he read for his audition was the hospital bed scene in the Army hospital.
That's right. And Bill Murray and Chevy Chase were also considered for the role.
Now, obviously, either one of those guys would have totally crushed that role.
Totally.
But I got to give Robert Hayes credit. He's really good in that role.
He was great. Yeah.
Very, very funny.
Yep.
I don't think Hayes had done much. I mean, he was on the show Angie, which was a sitcom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and which is interesting because it also starred Donna Pescow, I think her name was,
Okay.
who had a role in Saturday Night Fever. So it's kind of interesting.
Oh, wow. We're
That they-
just coming full circle
Look at
here.
that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, according to his autobiography, Christopher Lee turned down the role of Dr. Rumack.
Wait, a moment of silence for the late Christopher Lee. Okay.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
He described it as a big mistake, turning down that role.
Yeah. Again, he probably would have been really funny too because he was such a sinister guy. And,
Yeah. He played that all the way to the end.
And Sigourney Weaver auditioned for the role of Elaine Dickinson,
So
Julie
corny.
Haggerty's role.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine?
That would have been very different. Part
Yeah.
of what I love about Elaine is that Julie Haggerty has, those big eyes and
Yeah.
that like just naive sounding voice.
Yeah. She's
you
kind of
know.
soft spoken. And
Yeah.
The funny thing too is that this was her first role, but when you watch her in this movie, some of the way she delivers some of the lines, it's kind of awful.
It is a little painful.
It is. I don't know if that was done purposely.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, some of her lines are recreations of lines from Zero Hour. Because
Right.
when you watch that YouTube thing that I was
Yeah.
talking about, you'll see Elaine telling Stryker, I can't be with a man I don't respect.
Right.
And then you see Elaine doing it, and she's just like, well, I can't be with a man I can't respect.
Exactly. I love her in the movie.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
She's great, but
Oh,
yeah,
she's terrific.
just the way she says some of the lines, it's weird.
It's very weird. But I also love the way she's, with that tribe when they're in the Peace Corps, and she's selling the Supperware.
Supperware.
It can be used for parties and leftovers. It extends your food budget.
And I like that they call it Supperware so they don't get sued.
Wow, no. What could they possibly be talking about?
Right, exactly. So should we talk about Ted Stryker's drinking problem?
Oh, definitely. That was a running gag that, I did as a kid. Well, an empty glass, of course,
Right.
because you wouldn't want to really make a mess.
Like pour
but you
water
would say,
all over
I
yourself
have a
or
drinking problem, and, pour it on your eyeball or your ear or wherever. It's a classic.
God, that's funny. That is just funny. So the scene where the eggs are coming out of her mouth.
Yeah. It's
so bizarre.
Weird. What the heck? Where'd they come up with that?
It's really funny, though.
It is. It's very funny.
That actually wasn't an egg coming out of her mouth at all.
What?
It was magic. What? A little bit of sleight of hand, actually. It was the same egg in her mouth, and Leslie Nielsen is palming an egg. And then at one point, he actually gets a new egg off camera.
He does it a couple times.
Yeah.
Because technically, what does he take? 3 eggs out of her mouth?
Yeah.
So he palms one egg and it goes on the little tray, and then the hand goes off camera. And then he does it again and puts that down, and then the third egg, I think, he cracks on the cup.
Right.
And the bird flies out.
Right, but the bird is actually hidden in the cup.
Yes.
Which is great. And then if you look at that scene, which is really funny, and this is something I had noticed.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The bird flies throughout the cabin of the plane.
It goes to the back.
It goes to the back, and there's a guy sitting all the way in the back of the frame that's like, oh, he like all of a sudden gets scared.
Into his head or something.
Yeah, the bird flies like right above his head and spooks him. It's pretty funny.
I guess they should tell the extras what's going on so they can be prepared. I guess. Well, one thing I wanted to point out about the lady who gets the eggs pulled out of her mouth, every time I see her, I keep thinking about my mother's hair. Because that was the hairstyle.
Oh, my God.
Of the late 70s, early 80s. Like that kind of teased up a little and curled and set. And it was work to get your hair to look like that. And I just, when I see that and then I see, the outfits that the people are wearing. Lisa's mother has like that jacket and and the collar that sticks out. It just
it's definitely the
such
fashion
a
is
warm,
so different.
fuzzy, nostalgic feeling, though, I got to admit.
I liked one of the other things that they had mentioned, too. You talk about nostalgia. They mentioned that the parts of the Los Angeles airport where they shot, if you went there today and stood in the exact same spot, there would be like 10 Starbucks there now.
That's true. It was a completely different time back then.
Yeah.
You know what? Whenever we do this, we end up having this same conversation.
I know. And
it
people
was a
listening,
different time.
People must be annoyed by that by now.
And they're sitting there going, I know, yeah.
They're sitting there going, we know, you're fucking old. Get over it already.
No, I'm not that old.
Really?
Speak for yourself. If that happened nowadays, it would be all over the internet. Plane in trouble and, this and that, breaking news and everything. Right. And how did they get the news out back then?
Oh, there's a couple
of
the
newspapers.
Yeah, the newspapers.
And it's like they, go to the presses and, and they show the spinning newspapers and all the headlines come out, plane is doomed, you know?
Exactly. And then, like, one of the papers comes up, and it's a picture of a boy, and it says, boy trapped in refrigerator eats own foot.
Oh, that's the National Enquirer. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the boy in that picture is actually Billy Koch, who is the grandson of producer Howard W. Koch. His grandfather asked him, he calls him up, and he asks him one day for a photo of him. Billy just grabbed the first one he found, which was like a second grade photo. And it was only after the film came out that he realized what his grandfather wanted the photo for, which is pretty funny. Robert Stack was one of the real serious actors cast in this movie,
so
specifically for that reason. And one of his big things was that he was Elliot Ness on the Untouchables TV series. And they actually wanted his character in this movie basically to be like Elliot Ness. There's so many funny gags with him. One of the main ones is when he pulls off the pair of sunglasses and he has another pair of sunglasses underneath that.
And
Love
they
that.
said that was something from their comedy group. That was a running gag that they had. And I myself, when I've done shows, I love, we added it in when we did Law and Order. Remember Rob took off his sunglasses and he had the glasses under? Yeah.
We did the show Law and Order Nursery Rhymes Unit, which was basically Law and Order, except dun-dun, exactly. But we were solving the mystery of Humpty Dumpty's death. And it was a kid's show, but it was really funny and really clever.
And it had a lot of these funny things in it.
You actually added kind of an homage to Airplane.
That's right. We did.
Yeah, we had Kim Merlot. At one point, one of the lines in the script was something like, he had a funny tattoo, and then the person responds with, a tattoo, what is it?
And she said, a tattoo. The ink goes under your skin, but that's not important right now.
Didn't even get a laugh.
I know.
I thought it was great.
I know. And I think we even inserted in a, Shirley, you can't be serious. I am, and don't call me Shirley.
Right.
Because why not?
Robert Stack drives, they're driving back to the airport, and a couple of things go on. First off, there's a projection screen behind him showing like the road.
Right. And it starts off semi-realistic.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it just starts speeding up for no reason. Then he hits a guy on a bicycle, who, by the way, is director-writer Jim Abrahams.
That's right. That's right.
And then there's a Western movie behind him.
Yeah. Right, all the people on horseback.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes no sense.
Yeah, but
it's funny. Yeah, and it's twice. So, and there's actually a really cool thing about the Ford Mustang that he's driving.
The Ford Mustang he's driving actually belonged to Robert Hayes. The producer rented it from Hayes for $35 a day.
2 days, $70 extra in his wallet.
Nice.
Pretty cool. Obviously, as the plane gets in more and more trouble during the flight, all the passengers start to get a little uneasy and a little panicked. So it's up to Leslie Nielsen, Dr. Rumack, to come out and
calm them
calm
down.
everybody down, and let me give it to you straight.
Right. When he's first talking, you actually see his nose growing.
Yeah, like Pinocchio. 'cause it's
Pinocchio.
lying.
And at first it's a prosthetic nose. But then they cut away and you're looking at the passengers.
Right.
And you see his nose growing into the frame. You don't see his face.
Right.
Well, the way they did that was they painted the end of a broomstick the same color as his skin and just took the broomstick and pushed it further and further into the shot.
I got to tell you, creativity when you don't have a budget,
That's right.
and it works. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't tell,
No.
unless you're looking for it.
Yeah.
It really looks like his nose is continuing to grow. It's great. Very funny.
Yep.
So should we do some of the one-liners that obviously stick out for us?
Oh my gosh.
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive.
Oh my gosh. Yep. I can make a hat. I can make a brooch. I can make a pterodactyl.
That guy is
Johnny.
Talk about a scene stealer. That character is wonderful.
His stuff was so random and just
Exactly.
so funny.
Well, there's a reason for that.
That's right. Steven Stucker, who played the role of Johnny,
Mm-hmm.
was actually only given the line of dialogue before his, so he could improvise a
Off the line.
response.
So one of the lines that he improvised ended up having to be changed. So there's a scene where Lloyd Bridges' character, Steve McCroskey, says, "Get me someone who won't crack under pressure." And Johnny says, "Well, how about Mr. Rogers?" That's the scene that's actually in the movie.
Right.
Originally, Stucker said, "How about Mamie Eisenhower?" So what happened was the former First Lady died a few months after shooting wrapped in November of 1979. And out of respect for the Eisenhower family, the producers had Stucker go in and dub in the Mr. Rogers line before the film's release.
Another funny thing with Johnny is, you know how he unplugs the lights and he goes, "Oh, just kidding."
Right.
They were using stock footage
Right.
when the plane was approaching, so like the approaching runway lights, and then they were using one and the lights went out. So they actually quick wrote, the scene for him to go unplug it and go, "Oh, just kidding."
Yeah, that's great. The fog is getting thicker and Leon's getting larger. The guy's the best.
The tower, Rapunzel.
A guy that shows up in the movie that I never noticed before until, when we were watching in preparation for the podcast, Jonathan Banks, a great character actor. The first time I remember seeing him was he played one of the bad guys in Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy. But then, recently when we got into Breaking Bad,
That's right. He plays Mike.
yeah, he plays Mike Ehrmantraut. Well, he turns up in Airplane.
That's right. He's the radar guy.
Yeah, he's watching the radar range.
Right. He's watching the radar, and the guy a couple seats down is taking his laundry out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Jonathan Banks is on Better Call Saul now,
Oh, I love that show.
playing the same character of Mike, and he was just nominated for a Best Supporting Actor Emmy. So hopefully he
there
wins.
you go. Yeah,
I think
he's,
they're giving those
he's
out in
great.
September or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
WZAZ.
Yeah, there's a scene where the plane is flying really low over the cityscape, and it knocks out the antenna of the radio station WZAZ. That's "Disco Lives Forever," and then it just knocks the station out.
Yeah, well, that really was starting to be the death of disco, so that was a very symbolic move
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
WZAZ was named for the directors, Zucker, Abrahams, Zucker.
And a mic from the station turns up in another scene. In fact,
In the press release, right?
when the press, when the press comes to get a statement from Lloyd Bridges' character, you see the WZAZ microphone next to the ice cream cone in the shot. And that's the scene where Johnny, he goes, "Johnny, take over." What does the guy from the press ask? Could you describe the plane?
Yeah, and Johnny says, "Oh, it's a big, pretty white plane with red stripes and curtains in the windows and wheels, and it looks like a big Tylenol." Johnny.
So there's a gag that starts the movie when the opening credits are happening, and then the movie actually ends with the gag too. And it's the guy who was in Ted Stryker's Taxi. So he goes, "Oh, I'll only be a couple of minutes," and he starts the meter.
Right.
He spends essentially the entire film waiting in the taxi for him with the meter running. That guy in the taxi, his name is Howard Jarvis. Jarvis led the 1978 push for Proposition 13 in California, which was a money-saving and tax-cutting initiative. Jarvis actually saved California homeowners thousands of dollars per year by cutting residential property taxes in half. So that guy was pretty big to Californians back
Pretty
then.
big. And as a thank you, they put him in a taxi for a movie.
Exactly. Before we end the podcast, we got to talk about the autopilot.
Oh my gosh, Otto.
Otto.
So funny.
So many great gags with the autopilot. You know, the first one, of course, is when he starts deflating. They tell, Elaine, there's a manual inflation valve located near the waist.
You got to blow him up.
And that was pretty racy for
That
a
is
PG movie
risque,
back
yeah.
then. I mean, this is 1980, so the way that they got away with it. So there's that scene.
Then later they're both sitting there smoking.
Right, exactly. And he's got the big smile on his face. And then the scene where he's disengaged from the autopilot and he's totally molesting Elaine. He's got his hands on her breast and she looks all disheveled and stuff.
Right.
So funny. Great movie. It really is one of the funniest movies of all time.
It is.
without a
And
doubt.
even if it's on regular TV and it's nighttime and you flick past it, you end up watching it because it's just that kind of movie. You're going to just relax and laugh for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Abrahams and the Zucker brothers have done a lot of movies like this. Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh, which are both very funny.
The Naked Gun movies. They are definitely the masters of the sight gag kind of movie. Oh, and another one, Top Secret. they did
Oh
as
my
well,
gosh.
Which is great.
Which
with Val Kilmer.
when we watched it, I said, I love this as much as I love Airplane.
Yeah.
Because it's just, even when there's a scene where there's like a serious conversation going on, there's something funny in the background.
Right.
That just,
They do that in
cracks
this
you up.
movie, too. Top Secret is as funny as Airplane in that you laugh every other minute at least. At least we did.
Yeah.
I think Airplane's a better movie just because the story, in general is better.
That 0 Hour story.
I guess that's true. That's true. But both funny movies,
Yep.
and certainly we would recommend both of them.
And I actually want to get 0 Hour somehow and watch it because even though it's a serious movie, I have a feeling that you and I are just going to laugh the whole time.
I think we've pretty much covered everything. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that we missed. And that's where you come in, because if you have any of favorite parts to Airplane that you would like to talk about and let us know about, by all means, email us. You can email us at screenfacts@yahoo.com. And you can also rate, comment, and subscribe to Screenfacts with Jason Davis on iTunes. Please do that so other people will be able to find us. Please check out my website as well, jasondavisvoice.com/podcast. There you can get information about how you can order a Screenfacts t-shirt if you'd like to support us and advertise for us that way. And you can also find links to all the different vehicles for this podcast. It's not just iTunes. There's other ways that you can listen to if you're not a big fan of iTunes. And also, by the way, if you found out about this podcast because you saw a Facebook link or you found out about it on Twitter, please, I would be so grateful if you would share that link with your friends and family, or you would retweet for me. My love, thank you so much for doing the podcast again.
Thank you.
This is a fun movie
This
that we
is.
have enjoyed together a number of times
Many
now.
times.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing the next podcast with you. I'm not sure what it's going to be. We'll have to figure it out.
We'll come up with something good.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for listening, and join me again next Wednesday for more Screen Facts with Jason Davis. Bye-bye.